Hello, this is Frank J. Avella on behalf of Awards Daily. Today we have quite a treat. In our Oscar Legends series, we will be discussing the career of Marlee Matlin and also her new release, CODA. On the evening of March 30th, 1987, Marlee Matlin became the youngest Best Actress Oscar winner in history, as well as the first and to date only deaf actor to ever win. The film was Children of a Lesser God. Since then, she has had quite an amazing career on television, in film, and even on stage. And she's back in the awards conversation with her dynamic turn as a mother of a hearing teen in Sean Hayter's CODA. Welcome, Marlee.
What? Nice. No, I was kidding. I was pulling your
Meet
leg.
you.
I was nice to meet you.
I was so nervous I would screw it up.
You have to be careful how to say it. You have to be
Oh,
very, very
so
careful. You know,
nice
Eugenio knows. Yes, nice.
to meet you. Okay.
Yes.
I was so afraid I was
Great.
going to say something else.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me on.
Marlee, I love Jackie. She's complicated but loving. She's sexual. She's a pain in the ass. She's a real person.
You know what? When I read the script for the first time, and they told me the name of the character, and I picked her right out of the script, and I said, man, I like her. I mean, I really felt very comfortable playing her, and I found her to be captivating, if you like this, put it that way, in so many different ways. But and she has so many levels to her. How she is as a mother, as she is as a wife, as a friend, as the daughter of a hearing person, and as the mother who is deaf of a hearing daughter. So it was fun doing this a lot. That's a character I've never played before. I never had this kind of experience before, playing a character like this. So yeah.
So how did the script come to you?
Well, I had heard rumblings of a story or script that there was going to be a film called CODA, and that it was going to be inspired by the original French version of the film. And I, of course, my script radar went up, and I told my team I want to read the script as soon as it comes out. And as it so happened, the script came to my desk, and I fell in love with it immediately. And I said to my team, you have to make sure that I'm going to do this picture, that it doesn't go to anybody else. I know there's lots of great deaf actors out there, plenty of them, wonderful deaf actresses out there, but I don't want to lose this script. And I want to play Jackie Rossi in this movie. And the script excited me so much so that I really, really pursued it. I really did.
Wow. And what's so great about Jackie is she has this terrific arc. You don't see too often in films. She really goes, well, I don't want to give too much away, but there's that scene in the bedroom in particular, which is just so moving.
Yeah, it was a hard scene to shoot because, well, it wasn't a hard scene, but it was an interesting scene for me as an actor to play, because it was a challenge to use, the character has so much subtext going on in that scene, and I had to be in this character that I, haven't had these kind of experiences before. This one in particular was just something new for me as an actor. So I really had to dig in, and I had the opportunity to really bring to life the emotional arc of Jackie, as well as, I mean, I had a long discussion with Sean Hayter, the director. How did she envision Jackie in this particular scene, and what did Jackie want to convey? And I really had to dig into her background, the way she, grew up in a hearing family, being the only deaf person in a hearing family. And I grew up the same way, but I was very much welcomed into the hearing family. I was encouraged to do things that any child would do, whether they were hearing or deaf. My parents gave me independence, and my parents gave me a great deal of love and respect. We communicated. I had brothers who were older who learned how to sign more or less. And I hung out in both hearing and deaf worlds, whereas in Jackie's case, she did not. So, in Jackie's explanation of her experiences, feeling like she was going to be judged as a deaf mother of a hearing daughter based on how she was raised, because her experiences growing up were, she felt isolated. She didn't get a great deal of love other than the fact that she was a beautiful looking young girl. That was all she got. That was all she got. So there was a difference there, and it was fun. It was fun acting it out, and it really was heartfelt, and it was great working with Emilia Jones. I really did enjoy it. She was really brilliant as an actor, and she was multi-talented here for a young 17-year-old girl to be able to play a character who signs, who interprets, who has to voice an American accent because she's British. She had to sing and sign. She had to learn how to fish. And she put that all into one package, and she did it with ease. And I commend her, really.
Marlee, tell me, in your opinion, why is it taking so long for another mainstream film to be made where the main characters are deaf and they're played by deaf actors?
You know what? I think people are probably starting to understand the importance of collaboration. I think in the past, people weren't really, making the effort to put with writers and directors and studios, making an effort to really involve the deaf community and collaborate, to tell good stories, to make things happen. Studios are tough. We all know that. And rightfully so. They're a business. And for a lot, at the same time, for a lot of wrong reasons, they have their preference of how they want to perceive, what's hot, who's hot, what's number one, because it's all based on profits, and it's box office, and actors who, overseas make a great deal of money for studios. They don't really focus on the smaller actors, on the actors that aren't necessarily represented, even though we are a big part of the population. So that being said, I think that probably as a result of just people being more aware, people thinking outside of the box, people being more open-minded and more receptive to diversity and our community, that's probably why we're getting seen now. And it took a few people to make this film happen. And I hope that this film will set the standard for films to come. I hope studios will look at this and say, look how successful CODA is. We shouldn't be afraid any longer. We shouldn't think so much about what's going to happen. Oh my God, is it challenging to have a deaf actor? Filmmaking is challenging in general. This has nothing to do with being deaf or anything like that. So it's just a matter of collaboration and working together.
Well, and these actors are so fantastic. Now, did I hear right that they originally wanted the father and son played by hearing actors?
I believe so, that the father, they did want a name actor. Sean and I stood together and said no. I said, if that were the case, I wouldn't be in this film. You can't do it that way. You can't go backwards. Deafness is not a costume that a hearing actor can put on anymore. We've done that already. We can't do that anymore. You can't experience and present a character with deafness or a disability and act it the way that is believable. We're all too clued into how it works. We can't go there anymore.
Right. Absolutely. I wanted to mention one of the most extraordinary scenes in the film, which is the scene where everything goes silent. For me, it was sublime, because it really put me as a member of the hearing world in your world. And it was truly a gift. I don't know what else to say about it.
It was a very powerful scene, I think. A powerful scene in that, I was so excited when I read it in the script. Sean's choice to create a scene like that, I think, was brilliant. So you could feel and see and understand what our perspective is like as deaf people, what better way to do that than understand a little bit what we see? And, listen, without the sense of sound, you find yourself focusing on what you see, as you can see we do. And it makes a scene even more powerful. We can't take sound for granted like you can. And so that scene, I said, yes, finally, somebody has the courage to do it. Listen, I also have to bring this up. We did this on Switched at Birth. I did, for Freeform, a show called Switched at Birth. And there was an episode where there was no sound, if you can recall that show. Lizzie Weiss, for the entire episode, decided to have no sound. There might have been a couple of sounds here and there, or background sounds. Jack, am I correct? Yes, it started out with sound, and then it went out for the whole episode. And then there were little sounds here and there. Yeah. So Lizzie Weiss from Switch to Birth, she thought of it just like Sean thought of it. Sean Heder thought of it too. I mean, these are two creative people who are unafraid to really show what we go through, what's real.
It's interesting. I've been watching a lot of silent films recently, just as a film lover and a film geek. And I've been noticing the way they use faces and bodies, and how dialogue in a visual medium becomes less and less important. And I've now seen CODA 4 times. That's how much I love this film. And I notice how expressive you can be without any lines. It's fascinating to me.
It's funny. I know that people who watch films, they really watch performances because they have several layers, to the point where there are different perspectives in terms of actors. I mean, you can hear a wonderful singing voice, a wonderful perspective of how they speak, but you can also watch a film with subtitles in it and not use closed caption, but know that there is something going on the screen there is in terms of a personal performance. People who are music teachers, people appreciate like Mr. V does about sound. I mean, and there's people who really, you really understand the layers for people who've never seen sign language, who've never seen authentic deaf actors carrying a film on screen, which of course, as you said, it's about time. And it's so exciting. Like I said, when I first read the script, they might at first go, oh, wait a minute. Okay. They're thinking in the back of their head, this is going to be hard. I'm going to have to read. I'm going to have to watch. I don't understand sign language. I have to figure out what they're saying. But then what you find out is that with the subtitles, you forget. And the struggle to understand it goes away immediately, and you delve into the characters and the people's lives who live in this deaf culture and everything that happens after that, because of what Sean decided to do, to create subtitles. 40% of the film comes out so smoothly in the end. And now you can focus on the performances and the characters and the faces and how they express themselves. And you find yourself understanding sign language, understanding their expressions, learning, oh, that word means that sign. And it's really fascinating. It's not hard to do. It's not complex. That's the way it is.
Yeah, it's true. It's just another language. Yeah.
Exactly.
So going back a bit, you won an Oscar at the age of 21 for your first film, Children of a Lesser God. You were nominated with actors like Jane Fonda and Sissy Spacek. You're still the youngest Best Actress winner and the only deaf winner. You wrote in your terrific memoir, I'll Scream Later, which, by the way, is a brilliant title, I have to tell you, what a turbulent time that was for you. Were you able to enjoy it at all? And did you realize the impact that it would have?
I have to say, I was, when I first stepped on the set of Children of a Lesser God, I was 19. I turned 20 during the shooting of the film. And then at 21, I realized, okay, before I go any further in my career, because there's going to be a lot going on in my life, I needed to make a change. And the first change I made was I got sober. I had to get sober. And I knew that making that change would allow me to continue my career. I knew I wasn't thinking clearly at the moment. I was, I had just left home. I was making choices as an adult, wanting to do them correctly and as best as I could. So being sober was the first thing to get on that path. Having to do with William Hurt, it was a very volatile experience, an unhealthy experience, a 2-year experience. So understanding all that, my first film, getting sober, leaving home, being in a relationship with someone who was 15 years older than I was, there was a lot happening at that time. And I had to sort of step on the brake and say, hold on, let's get sober. Let's restart my life. And it was the best decision I've ever made. And I still, to this day, believe that. And I wouldn't be sitting here talking with you, even as an athlete, if I didn't have the opportunity to talk to my family and my kids. Hold on, Marlee, hearing person problem, my earphone fell out. So just a moment. Marlee said, hearing world problems.
Yes.
But in any case, yeah, it's that's why I wrote in my book this experience of winning the Oscar, and how, I mean, this is only just a small part of my life, but it was it had a big impact. And I don't know if I understood the importance at the time. I didn't understand about things like domestic violence, drug addiction. These were all parts of my life that were going on. And I didn't even understand, as you might have read in my book, about molestation, sexual molestation. And I guess all of this stuff came together. Looking at it when I went through my career compelled me to want to put it in books to inspire other people, anyone who read the book, to say, oh, it happened to Marlee, and maybe I might need to get some help for myself. So was that your question?
Yeah, yes. And you wrote it over a decade ago, which is way before the Me Too movement. Were you afraid of any kind of, I don't know, retaliation or anything like that?
No, there was, yeah, as you said, there was no Me Too back then. And really, in all honesty, I didn't have any concerns having to do with retaliation in the business. No, I did not. I'm not saying that I wasn't thinking that somebody might not want to support me, but I wanted to tell my truth. It was people, I guess people who want to judge, who, don't understand that people go through it. Listen, I have to put back on my kids. My kids had to, they are teens. They might have said, "Oh, we know it all, Mom. We know what's going on. I know what's, what you went through." And I said, "No, all I can say is I said the same thing to my parents, and you just have to know my story. You just have to know, and that there's a lot to learn in life." And so that's what the purpose of this was. I mean, it's about making choices. It's about falling down, getting back up again. And it was important to tell that story more than any concern outside of that. I think that the Me Too movement is very, very important, but it's always been there. And I'm glad it's finally, reached the mainstream.
Marlee.
We've been sweeping it under the table too long.
Yeah, I agree. And it was very, very brave of you, really. As somebody who understands abuse, I wanted to ask you, did you ever confront him about it?
Well, yes, but again, I didn't understand that there were consequences or that it was right. It wasn't right. We both had addiction issues. We both fought. I was young too, and he was an adult. And he was frustrated that, he always said, "You're a baby. You're so young. You don't understand." And I said, "Well, yeah, of course I don't understand. What do you want me to do?" So it was extremely complex as relationships go. But in a very weird way, to this day, I think he's probably one of the most brilliant actors that are out there. You know, what can I
Yeah.
say?
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you do? Yeah. Yeah.
What do you do? I'm honest. I can only tell my truth. I can only tell what I see. I can only tell what I feel. And I can only tell you how I feel as a human being. That's basically what I can do.
Well, after Children of a Lesser God and the Oscar, the film roles didn't really come pouring in, did they? Which must have been a little frustrating.
Exactly. You're exactly, because not enough people were. I mean, I did some little work, and I think I was more focused on television because they were more open. Shows like Seinfeld, West Wing, L Word, Picket Fences, Reasonable Doubts. I mean, they were more open. I mean, even shows like Quantico, all the television work that I did. And I did some film work, but I don't know. I guess people have different perspectives about how they view actors in film and how they view actors in television. And for me, I just decided to just speak up about it. And you know, I really didn't as much as I would as I have now. I wanted to point out, you know, saying that, you know, through my channels of social media, that this is what needs to change. And we all are becoming more and more aware. It's a different generation of people, and maybe everything's all open now. I'm never going to stay silent. I mean, people might think that I'm deaf and I'm silent. I'm not. I'm probably one of the loudest people you'll ever meet.
Bravo, keep that way, really. I was saying to Jack, I feel like I've been following your career, you know, since Children of a Lesser God. And I remember getting excited whenever I would see you in something. And it was so frustrating to see you in films like Hear No Evil when I knew you had the capacity to do so much better than that. Which brings me to a film I wanted to mention, Randall Kleiser's It's My Party, which was a wonderful film, and it was really daring at the time to make a film about AIDS, and especially what that film was indeed about. So bravo to you. What was that experience like?
And well, thanks to Randall Kleiser, I thanked him because it wasn't written for a deaf actor originally. It was based on a real character. And Randall, you just reminded me when you brought it up. I just saw him 2 weeks ago at a screening. So thank you for reminding me that I'll have to call him up and say thanks to him. But Randall believed in me, and we met, and he said, you know what, why don't we make the character deaf? Make the sister deaf, even though she was based on a real character who was hearing. And he asked the sister, and she said, sure, why not? Who cares? She's an actor. No problem. So that's what, you know, I found very rare in Hollywood. And these are people who believe in me. So, you know, we need more Randall Kleisers.
Yeah, yeah, big time. And yet, as you mentioned, TV was a lot more conducive to, I mean, you did such great 4 Emmy nominations, like you said, Picket Fences, Seinfeld, Law and Order, The Practice. I'm so many incredible roles on television. Do you have a favorite?
Oh gosh, that's a hard one because they're all so different. You know,
Yeah.
One is crime drama, one is comedy, one is, you know, a LGBTQ, you know, drama. It was nice to have a variety of fans that, you know, the shows appeal to coming together. I love them all, really. I really do. I enjoyed most everything that I've done on television. It was fun playing an FBI agent on Quantico. That was a great cast. The West Wing, of course, is a no-brainer. I mean, gosh, the L Word was so much fun. And I mean, really, I mean, CODA is what I'm most proud of at the moment. Really, I am.
God, yeah.
Switched at Birth 2 was great too.
I only got to see a few episodes of that because I didn't have the premium service, but I'm going to have to watch all of them.
Yeah.
Have to ask you about the Celebrity Apprentice. Any idea that the man you were working for would one day be our president?
No idea. I had no idea. I mean, who would have thought?
I know, right? It's fascinating because I did watch it, and I mostly watched it because you were on. You know, looking back, it was good TV. It was good TV.
Yeah, and I was really proud to just for one reason, is to raise money for charity, which is what I did.
Yeah,
I raised money for charity to give free hearing aids to deaf kids and adults in developing countries. That was my mission.
well, that's the way. It's true. So you recently made your Broadway debut in Spring Awakening, like what, about 5-6 years ago. I
Yes,
saw
that's
you
right.
actually in the revival. How did that
Yes.
feel?
That there's a nurse here to test me. I'm going to tell them to wait. Otherwise,
Okay,
they're going to leave. And
we
I
will
can't
be
fly.
wrapping very soon, I promise.
So can you just wait once? I'm
Yes,
so sorry. Hold
that's
on.
okay.
Hold on. Is there someone here to test me? Oh, no?
Hi.
Okay, there's somebody coming at 3:30. Sorry. If you don't get tested before you fly, you can't fly. So they're here, but I told them to wait.
Yeah, I went through that recently. We're almost done, I promise. Spring Awakening.
Yes, Spring Awakening. That was on my bucket list to do theater, and now I've checked that off. That was great. I think a one-time theater experience is great. It was great working with deaf actors, the actors who sang as well, the hearing actors. It was a wonderful collaborative experience. Michael Arden, who directed the play, was great and brilliant, and he's gone on to win Tony since then. And it was accessible because everyone could understand. It was done in sign and in song, and we had sign language coaches, everything. It was just a wonderful, wonderful big family. And it was challenging for me to do 9 shows a week. Very tiring because I wasn't accustomed to that, but I had a good time.
That's fantastic. How does it feel to finally be back in the Film Awards conversation after 35 years?
It's nice. It's a great feeling. And it's nice to let people know I've always been here. I haven't gone anyplace. So, but the recognition, certainly these days, it's nice. It's very nice. It feels good. And hopefully it will continue.
Marlee, you've been very vocal in your fighting for closed captioning, as well as lobbying for other important legislation on behalf of deaf people. I wanted to ask you, are we doing better?
I think so. I think we are doing better, a lot better than, say, in the past. Captioning is everywhere. I really, really am excited that CODA is the first film that's been released with open subtitles right there on the screen, where I don't have to depend on those devices where I enjoyed it just like anybody else with my friends and my family at the same time. I didn't have to depend on a little device that I would wear on my head or something that I would put in my cup holder. I could just watch it and enjoy it just like anybody else, the same way, the same time. I think it's really come along a great deal, and I hope that studios will follow suit.
Awesome. I do too. And my last question to you is, what's up next for you?
I'm currently doing a documentary on a very interesting subject. It's taking a while, documentary filmmaking. I realize it's different than working on a feature film. I'm very excited about it. I'm producing it. And I have several projects scripts that I'm ready to get made. It's a matter of waiting and getting the green light or getting the script rewritten, or, these are all projects that I would either star or produce. It takes time, but I'm available.
Well, that's good to know. Marlee, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out to chat. It's honestly been such a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Nice to see you, and thank you for having me on.
Likewise.
Say hello to everybody for me.
I'm going to try not to screw this one up.
Love you too. Love you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.